Oklahoma Gardening is a production of the Oklahoma Cooperative Extension Service as part of the land grant mission of the Division of Agricultural Sciences and Natural Resources at Oklahoma State University, dedicated to improving the quality of life of the citizens of Oklahoma through research-based information. Southwood Landscape and Garden Center, Tulsa's source for great gardens, southwoodgardencenter.com. And the Oklahoma Department of Agriculture, Food, and Forestry, helping to keep Oklahoma green and growing.
Today on Oklahoma Gardening, we get a special sneak peek of the Oklahoma Horticultural Society's garden tour for connoisseurs in Oklahoma City. We visit the Warriner home, an artist showplace that celebrates and saves water. The Burkhart home, a Mediterranean oasis just off the fairway. And the Clay home, a shady spot with an eloquent color palette and texture-filled plantings that are sure to delight.
Joining us is Dr. Lou Anella, who is a professor on campus, but also serves as the Oklahoma Horticultural Society's president. And Dr. Anella, we've got a big event coming up for OHS. Can you tell us a little bit about it?
We do, the garden tour for connoisseurs. So it's Saturday, October 13th from 9 to 3. And it's an opportunity for people to view incredible landscapes in the Oklahoma City area.
And what are some of the things that they might be seeing on these? I mean, why would a homeowner want to go see a garden?
Well, to get ideas for what they might be able to do at their own house. But also, in this tour, they're going to get to see some fantastic examples of architecture, of water gardens, of flaming dragons, really different things that I think people will be excited about and impressed by, and then think about how they might be able to implement some of that in their own garden.
And this garden tour is something that OHS does pretty regularly. Can you tell us why they do this and where the proceeds go?
Sure. Well, it's the major fundraiser for the Oklahoma Horticultural Society, and most of the money goes for scholarships. But the mission is also to do education about horticulture. So they also support things like Oklahoma Gardening and 4-H scholarships. And they supported a horticulture camp last summer here at OSU. But most of it's for scholarships for students in Oklahoma to study horticulture.
And if people just want more information about the Oklahoma Horticulture Society, is it open to anyone? I mean, how do you become a part of the organization?
Sure. Well, the events, of course, are open to anyone. So we have a monthly lecture series, and we have annual meetings, but one can become a member and by visiting the website. But also, one could become a volunteer as well. And so we use volunteers at things like the tour. And but becoming a member is just another way for us to raise money and help with scholarships. But the lecture series is open to the public, so there's lots of ways to become involved.
All right, and that membership also includes a magazine subscription, I believe. So.
It does.
Well, thank you for sharing this with us, Dr. Anella.
Great. I hope a lot of people turn out. We'll have great weather.
Yes. We're here at the home of Joe and Laura Warriner, and their home is so unique to Oklahoma City and Oklahoma in general because it's a Bruce golf house. And Laura, thank you for opening up your yard to us so that we could see it.
Certainly.
I mean, tell us a little bit. First of all, you can't help but notice the house because of the unique architecture. Right. Can you tell us a little bit about him as an architect?
This was designed by Bruce Goff, who was head of the College of Architecture at OU during the 40s and 50s. We bought this house in 1966, and we met Mr. Goff in 1967 because neither of us knew anything about who the architect was or anything except that we really loved the uniqueness of it and everything. So we have lived here ever since then, and it has gone through lots of different iterations in these years. So this is the latest with the sort of succulent garden trying to not using so much water.
Well, when we often talk about how a home's design and the architecture of a home can influence the landscape, and I think your landscape here really just plays up the home's architecture. Can you tell us about some of the plant choices? You mentioned some of the succulents. You've got sumac all around the house, which is just the shape of them, the angles and stuff really play off the house.
Well, I love European gardens and stuff like that, but I really had the idea of having this beautiful purple against this green, and the idea of just having a line of purple crossing around in front of the building. And we used to have yellow forsythia that went all around the front of it. And so it kind of started out with the sage. And then I've had lots of friends over the years that have really helped me. Warren Edwards was the first person to come and do the landscape. And over the years, it became overgrown, and then came the idea of no grass up here, no lawn, minimal lawn. And I have a friend, Sierra, and she kind of helped me with some of my potted plants and stuff, giving me some ideas about the same kind of succulent idea, but maybe not always just succulents, but things that are comparable with it. I am not a gardener.
Well, and I think that's a lot of times what people think is drought tolerant means succulent, and it doesn't necessarily. I mean, there's so many other herbaceous plants that you can use, and you guys have done that really well here. One of the areas I like that you mentioned was you've got an area where the plants weren't growing, and so you came up with a very creative solution where you put in glass. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Oh, yes. We had a little problem over in the front because nothing would grow there. It was in the shade and there wasn't enough soil. So I just stacked it all up in there, and it looks really nice, and it has a little LED light that's ever so light so that it's not glary at night, but it's really gives a nice ambience to the space.
It really reflects nicely with the pools that you have next to it, and the addition and just the house itself. I mean, it really lends to different angles as you're walking around the house and being inside it, and then also above your addition, there's kind of an area for you to enjoy your garden and see it from a different angle.
It's really beautiful. It's where I have my coffee every morning.
It really frames the landscape for you. Yeah. Well, do you mind if we go and take a look in the backyard?
That would be great. Thank you.
Laura, it's apparent from looking at your garden that you're also an artist, and you actually are working and run a nonprofit.
Right.
Can you tell us the name of that nonprofit? And
it's Art Space at Untitled, and we are a 501c3 in the Deep Deuce area of downtown Oklahoma City. And we have a lot of different programs that we run there.
Well, I know you're a very busy woman, and so your landscape has changed a little bit. It's gone a little more low maintenance, but some things about it, you've incorporated this bamboo.
Well, we have a terrible flooding problem from the school that's behind us, and also we're the lowest piece of property on this 2-square block. And so the bamboo, the raised wall, was to keep the water from coming from the property adjacent to us. And the bamboo was just a natural fence to replace the old fence that was there from 1955. So Roger Runge, my friend, who I was talking with one day, came up with the idea of making a bamboo fence and planted it and put in a horse panel fence that you can't see because it's in the middle of the bamboo, but we could tie the bamboo up to it when we were first trying to get it started.
And this is a good reason why you want to be very judicious when you're using bamboo in the garden. And some of the other fence panels that you...
But I do still have some of the new fence panels that he designed in 1980 when we did a renovation of, or a restoration and a little bit of a change. When we added the bamboo, then we lost some of the fence panels, and I then started turning them into benches, into dining room tables, and
you've even incorporated in your grill here behind us.
I like repurposing and reusing.
So yeah, even here in your dining room table, you've incorporated it.
Right. Yes.
Well, it's just beautiful, and it's a nice way to incorporate your furniture and your outdoor space all together. And I know that you do like gardening yourself. You're maintaining this garden yourself, and you've incorporated.
Well, I'm not the greatest. But,
it's beautiful.
But thank you.
You've incorporated some succulents. I see that the Texas Silverado sage is blooming for us. The barometer, because it's supposed to rain tomorrow.
Yes.
But you have a nice little herb garden that you enjoy as well.
Yes, this door goes just right into the dining room and the kitchen area, and so I wanted to have one little area where I could have herbs and stuff, and so I've tried to pick things that smell good too, like curry plant and different things like that. So and then I like to cook. I don't cook nearly as much as I used to, but it's my goal this year is to actually kind of pick this up again. So that's where the herbs came in. We just planted these this year, actually.
Well, it's a nice little touch that again shows your interest. The garden really reflects your style, I think,
well,
and it's a beautiful style. So
thank you.
Thank you for sharing it with us.
No, thank you very much for being interested.
I'm joined by Jamie Brown with Total Environment, and we are in the backyard of the Burkhart family, and this backyard is just magnificent. I feel like I'm in a Tuscan villa or on the Mediterranean somewhere, but we're actually just off a golf course.
Yes, that's true. And it's kind of tucked away, where nobody really knows what's back here until you come back here, and then you have so much to see.
Yeah, there's a lot going on in a fairly reasonable sized backyard. I mean, we've got this beautiful water garden.
Yes.
Lots of lava rock.
Yes.
I mean, was that original to being back here?
The lava rock was original to the home. Actually, it used to be connected to the home on the other side, and then as the property sold, they walled it up and just made it more secluded to this area. So, and hence then the pond kind of leading out to the cabana area. But what's nice is that it actually kind of gives you just a little bit of like you're away, tucked away with the sound of the water,
right.
And the koi pond and such.
And that's the thing about water gardens and water features is they create such a sound reducer, especially in an urban environment where you might have sirens and things like that. It's a nice way to drown out all that noise. The storks are a beautiful feature to the water garden as well.
Aren't they? They just kind of added those recently. They had a lot of birds of prey that would like to come in and try to get the koi, and they've noticed once they added those in there that it did kind of reduce some of that.
Oh, of course.
Yeah, because and they've got light fixtures on them that illuminate them at night, which makes it very interesting.
So it's not just decorative, but it's functional as well.
It's functional. They are the guardians of the koi pond.
So what I like about it is how it almost seems to just transition right into a pool up here. It's known as the lizard pool, is that correct?
The dragon pool,
The dragon pool,
The dragon pool, yes. And I thought that it was very unique, especially the colors that they bring into it, kind of plays off of everything they have in here. And the tail kind of, swings around a little bit. And the Burkharts, they have 3 children, and so they're always entertaining and, have kids over, and it's a very family friendly, but this is kind of one of the highlights that everyone seems to like when they come over.
Oh, I bet this is a place to be in the summertime,
yes.
I'm sure. Well, I love what they've done. You've got a live oak, and it seems like it's probably original.
Yes.
It's very mature. But I like how they've used it and incorporated it and actually hung their lanterns and things off of it, and the rain chains that they've incorporated in the home.
It is, and I think that they like playing off of their, off of the landscape and incorporating that into the design and the architecture of the home, which is very unique.
And Mrs. Burkhart, you said she's a gardener herself.
She's a gardener. She has done a lot of this herself. She gets out here and plays all the time and plants. You'll see that soon when we go out by the cabana area. And she's always out here, weeding and bouncing ideas off of each other, and what are we going to plan for the fall, and it's great working with her.
This is just a beautiful space over here. Can you tell us, obviously she likes color?
She does. She loves vibrant, bright color. It's cheerful, it's something that she just likes to have a pop, for the golfers that come by, and this is their little retreat, to come and just sit in the evenings and enjoy the landscape and, the golf course site. So this is their little retreat.
Yeah, and for something that's really public, you're right here on the golf course, but it feels private. It feels intimate up here.
It does.
So let's look at some of the plants. You've got your milkweed, it seems, that's going to seed, and
it does. As you can see, it's attracted many of the monarchs. We've had larvae on it, so she likes to bring in, stuff that helps the pollinators, because she feels that's important, as we all do.
Well, with all this color, I can't believe that she doesn't have even more butterflies already. So,
well, that's we've got the smoke tree that was original to the home. We worked on it a little bit, trying to, kind of fill it out a little bit, and then the choke cherry and. Just the border of the, the portulaca just really brightens it up. And, the hostas we had earlier, we had to kind of shade them. They were getting a little bit too much sun, but with everything else we've planted, I think that's, it's kind of working a little bit.
Protect them a little bit more. And the elephant ears, do you have to dig those or do you leave them? Or?
We'll see. This is the first year she planted them, so we're going to see if she, pulls them up and overwinters them or just lets them come back, because they're beautiful this year.
Very nice. Well, thank you for sharing this lovely backyard with us.
You're very welcome, Casey. Thank you.
We're here at the home of Marquette Clay, and one of the things that draws you in is not only these boxwoods, but this door, Marquette.
Hello. Well, thank you.
You have
thank
a
you for
lovely,
coming.
yeah, you have a lovely yard here that's just nestled in right off the street. Can you tell us a little bit about the yard, first of all? You've got a lot of greens and whites and things like that.
It's been in development. I started probably about 2008 and did all the stonework, the steps, the pathway, the walls. And then in 2012, when you set the door, I was being featured in Southern Living magazine. So they picked out the color for the door and they asked me if I would paint it that color. And I said, sure, I will, but I'm going to paint it back once they leave.
Right.
But that was 2012, and I still have the green door.
Hey,
I love it.
It looks great
I
here,
love it.
and you've got a lot of shades of green, so it just kind of plays that up a little bit.
That's why I start loving it more and more, because I love the different shades of green, especially when new foliage comes on, or just the light shades and the dark shades, and I love mixing white with it. So it was a perfect match.
Yeah, and you've mixed in just pops of purple around that I really like.
It's a little bit of color without going into the pinks and all the other colors.
Yeah.
With the color palette. So I always mix a little purple.
Well,
a little purple and the different shades of green and yellows.
Yeah.
Not really bright yellow, but the chartreuse colors are yellow.
Yeah, and I like that you have a variegated elderberry behind us here. We've got a lot of yews because
I love the plum yews.
Even though there's some sun here, you're kind of shaded.
I've been really surprised how well that this was a really good one at first, but then I planted these on this side and they have done even better.
And they're on the north facing of your house,
North
so they
facing
get a
side.
little bit of protection that way. We've got a nice darker foliaged elderberry here on the corner too.
I believe it's the black lace.
Okay. And I just love this carriage driveway of yours. We've got to talk about this. Was this here originally?
It was not here. Actually, nothing was here. Nearly all the plant material you'll see on the whole property was planted after I moved in. But it was just a play on the old driveway where you would naturally make a pathway with the tires.
Yeah.
And you would have the grass left in the middle. But put a little steel edging around it and kind of reformed it a little bit.
Yeah, give it a little bit of a modern twist to that.
A little bit of modern twist.
Well,
it's going through that period of time right now. It's being overseeded. It was a hot summer.
Definitely. Well, this just leads me. Can we go check out your backyard?
We can.
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Marquette, this is just a beautiful oasis. It feels like an extension of your yard, your home.
You got it right. This is my outside room. The back windows of my bedroom and the
Yeah.
kitchen face out, so it's just like having an extra room.
Well, let's first talk about the shade garden here. You've got some Nellie Stevens above us that have grown pretty large and they're providing you with a lot of shade, but I love...
They have grown extremely large and quickly.
They do that, but I love the oasis here with the different mixes of colors. Is this the silver dragon liriope?
Silver dragon, liriope, you have autumn fern, there's wood fern, there's Persian shield, which is
yeah.
annual, but then there's hostas, other variegated hostas mixed in, some different grasses.
Again, the purple, white, and shades of green theme.
That's about all the color you'll find in my garden.
Which is really, it creates this kind of cooling, relaxing place to come out and enjoy. It looks like you might enjoy your time out here.
I really do. This is a great place to entertain. I don't entertain as much as I should, and every time friends see it, they go, why are we not having something? But, it's pretty hot. So
Yeah.
it's a great place, but I typically wait till early fall and try to get in some parties in.
Well, it's very nice with the fire pit and stuff like that. Let's talk a little bit about the detail you've added in. You've got a beautiful trough here with some succulents.
It's a large wooden trough, and I plant it every year. This little boxwood has been in here probably about 5 years, and other elements I put in and take out, and it changes.
Yeah. Well, that's part of the fun of gardening,
Oh,
right?
that's always the fun.
So you have a lot of containers over here.
This is definitely a container garden. Every single plant you see in this area is in a container. And because it moves around and it's always different, I never bothered to irrigate it.
Okay.
So I am the irrigator of these pots, and that's a lot of work.
So you bring the hose around, or
I bring the hose
container
around and keep it all watered.
Well, you've got a lot of annuals mixed in too. You're obviously a perennial and annual gardener. Can you tell us a
Most
little bit
definitely.
about why you choose to plant some annuals as well?
Well, sometimes you won't get those colors with perennials, and so it's just a fun thing to mix in.
Yeah.
Annual's always fun, as long as you don't overdo it.
Well, and I saw you've got the cat whiskers, again, the Persian shield, some different tropical succulents and things like that. And I have to mention this little centerpiece here. That's beautiful.
Oh, thank you. I planted it originally a year ago, last summer, and when it came around this year, some things survived, other things didn't. I kept it in the greenhouse this winter. And so I just plugged in, and that's the fun thing about
Right.
succulents. A lot of times with a large container, you can just start over, but a lot of times you can just take what you have
Yeah.
and intermix new succulents
Yeah,
to it.
kind of let them define their own boundaries and stuff. Yeah.
Exactly.
So we're under a beautiful arbor structure, and I know it's been here for a little while, but I love the chandelier and the fact that you're using it to grow the woolly morning glory
The
on.
woolly morning glory. I love it.
This is one of the favorites to touch, right?
It is a favorite. It's picked up at one of our local nursery people in Stillwater, and it's just a great vine.
It's definitely one for foliage.
Definitely one for foliage.
But if it does bloom, it's going to have a purple flower for you.
Sure, and Jack may climb that beanstalk. Yeah. You never know.
So a few other trees I want to highlight is your chocolate mimosa.
Chocolate mimosas are great.
And you also have, it looks like a dwarf lacebark elm or Chinese elm that it's
Yes,
known as.
Chinese elm, and as you see, it's not too dwarf anymore. The leaves are still very small.
Yeah, it's got a smaller leaf on it.
That's where it kind of comes from, is a very small leaf on it. But for the most part, it's turned into a nice large tree.
Well, Marquette, your backyard and your front yard too are just beautiful, and thank you for opening up your home to us so that we
thank
can
you
take
for
a look
coming.
at it.
Thank you.
We hope you come out and see these lovely gardens, and for more information, check out this website.
There are lots of great horticultural events this time of year. Be sure and consider these activities when you're making your plans for the weeks ahead. Next week, Casey fishes for a good way to keep leaves out of our water garden. We continue our tour of gardening in Northwest Oklahoma with a stop at the Garfield County OSU Extension Center in Enid for a tour of their Master Gardener demonstration garden. Also in Enid, we find out how the wildflowers that we saw earlier in the season are harvested and processed by Johnston Seed Company. And OSU Assistant Extension Specialist Shelley Mitchell has a fun children's activity to see the different colors that are present in green leaves before they are revealed by fall. We hope you join us then for more TV You'll Grow to Love. To find out more information about show topics, as well as recipes, videos, articles, fact sheets, and other resources, including a directory of local extension offices, be sure and visit our website, oklahomagardening.okstate.edu. And we always have great information, answers to questions, photos, and gardening discussions on your favorite social media as well. Join in on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. You can find this entire show and other recent shows, as well as individual segments on our Oklahoma Gardening YouTube channel. And tune in to our OK Gardening Classics YouTube channel to watch segments from previous hosts. Oklahoma Gardening is produced by the Oklahoma Cooperative Extension Service as part of the Division of Agricultural Sciences and Natural Resources at Oklahoma State University. The Botanic Garden at OSU is home to our studio gardens, and we encourage you to come visit this beautiful Stillwater jewel. We wish to thank our generous underwriters, Southwood Landscape and Garden Center, and the Oklahoma Department of Agriculture, Food, and Forestry. Additional support is provided by Pond Pro Shops, Greenleaf Nursery and the Garden Debut Plants, and the Oklahoma Horticultural Society.